The alley smells like rotting garbage and regret. Lorene Smith presses her back against the brick wall, her black waitress uniform torn at the shoulder, the fabric hanging loose where hands that had no right to touch her ripped through it like she was nothing. Her cheek throbs where the slap landed, the one that came after she dared to say the word stop. She can still taste copper on her lip. Her knees scraped raw from hitting the pavement when they finally let her stumble away. She can't go back inside. Not like this. Not with her mascara running and bruises already blooming purple across her wrist. Lorene has worked at Bella Sera for 3 years. 3 years of double shifts and forced smiles at men who look through her like she's part of the furniture. She's 25 and still living paycheck to paycheck, sending money back to her mom in Newark, saving every spare dollar for community college classes she takes online at 2 a.m. This job is everything. Bella Sera isn't just any restaurant, it's the restaurant. Where Manhattan's elite close deals over $1,200 bottles of wine. Where she's learned to be invisible, efficient, untouchable. She's good at her job. So good that Tony, the floor manager, promised her a promotion to lead server if she could just make it 6 more months without incident. 6 more months. She slides down the wall, pulling her knees to her chest. The private dining hall is still full. Those 5 men in their custom suits and family money are probably laughing right now, probably ordering another round of whiskey like nothing happened. Like she's nothing. That's when she feels it. A presence. Heavy, deliberate. Lorene's head snaps up, and her breath catches. A man stands at the mouth of the alley, framed by the amber glow of the streetlight. He's tall, over 6 feet of controlled power wrapped in a tailored black suit that probably costs more than her yearly rent. Dark hair, sharp jawline, and eyes that catch the light like polished steel. She recognizes him immediately. Before we go further, hit that subscribe button. My best friend bet me I couldn't reach 1,000 subscribers this month. Help me prove him wrong. Okay, back to the story. Michael Moretti. 34 years old, though the intensity in his expression makes him seem ageless. She's seen him exactly 9 times in 3 years, always in the private rooms, always surrounded by men in expensive suits who speak in low voices and never look the waitstaff in the eye. She's heard the whispers, that he owns half of Lower Manhattan, that politicians and judges take his calls at midnight, that people who cross him have a habit of disappearing. The kind of man who moves through the world like he owns it, because he does. In 3 years, he's never spoken to her directly. She's poured his wine, a 2015 Barolo, always, refilled his water glass, cleared his plates. He tips well. Tips everyone well. But his eyes have never lingered. She's been a ghost to him, just like she's supposed to be. But he's looking at her now. And there's nothing ghostly about the way his gaze moves from her torn uniform to her bleeding lip to the fingerprint bruises darkening her forearm. His expression doesn't change. That's what makes her pulse spike. "I'm sorry," Lorene whispers, scrambling to her feet even though her ribs scream in protest. "I didn't mean to, I was just taking a break. I'll go back inside." "I don't." One word. Quiet. Final. Michael takes 3 measured steps into the alley. The door behind him closes with a soft click that sounds like a verdict. "Who?" His voice is conversational, almost gentle. But something in that single syllable makes Lorene's throat tighten. "It's nothing," she says quickly, wiping at her face with shaking hands. I tripped in the storage room. Clumsy. I'm fine really, I just need a minute to clean up before." Lorene. Her name in his mouth stops her cold. He knows her name. He moves closer, and she should be terrified. She should run. This is Michael Moretti, a man whose reputation is built on calculated violence and absolute control. But when he reaches out, his movements are slow, deliberate, telegraphing every intention. "I'm going to ask you one more time." His hand hovers near her face, not touching, waiting for permission. "And I need you to understand something, I don't ask questions twice." His fingers finally make contact, tilting her chin up with a gentleness that contradicts everything she's ever heard about him. The touch is impossibly careful, like she might shatter. "Who hell did this to you?" She's never heard him curse. Never seen the mask slip. But it's slipping now, in the way his jaw tightens, the way his free hand curls slowly into a fist at his side. His eyes scan her face with clinical precision. "That bruise on your cheek is from an open palm. The split lip, someone wore a ring. Heavy, probably gold." His thumb ghosts along her jawline. "Your shoulders dislocated. You're favoring your left side, which means cracked ribs. And those marks on your wrist." His voice drops lower, colder. "Someone held you down." Lorraine's eyes widen. "How do you?" "I know what violence looks like." His gray eyes lock onto hers, and she sees something blazing behind them, something ancient and unforgiving. "I know what it looks like when entitled men think they can take whatever they want." He leans in, close enough that she can smell expensive cologne and something darker underneath, smoke maybe, or gunpowder. "So I'm going to ask you one final time, and I need you to understand that I'm not asking as a customer." His voice is barely above a whisper now, but it cuts through the city noise like a blade. "I'm asking as someone who is about to make sure this never happens to you again." His thumb traces her cheekbone with devastating gentleness, and his next words are a promise wrapped in silk and steel. "Answer me. Who did this to you?" The contrast, the softness of his touch against the lethal certainty in his voice, cracks something open inside Lorraine's chest. For the first time all night, she doesn't feel like prey. She feels protected, claimed, seen. And when she opens her mouth, 5 names spill out like a confession. The names sit on Lorraine's tongue like poison. She should lie. She should say she doesn't know them, that it all happened too fast, that the lighting was bad and she couldn't see their faces. Every survival instinct she has is screaming at her to protect herself, because naming them means consequences. Means HR investigations and police reports and her word against theirs. Means losing everything she's worked for. Men like that don't face consequences. Girls like her just disappear from the schedule. But Michael is still touching her face with that devastating gentleness, and his eyes, God, his eyes, are burning with something that looks like barely leashed violence. He's waiting. Patient. Certain she'll answer. And the strangest thing is, she wants to tell him. Her voice cracks. She tries again. "I can't. Mr. Moretti, please, I need this job. My mother depends on me, and if I make trouble Lorraine." He says her name like a command and a prayer at once. "Look at me." She does. She can't help it. "I'm not HR. I'm not your manager. I'm not the police." His thumb traces her jaw one more time, then drops away, though he doesn't step back. "I'm asking you who hurt you so I can make sure they never hurt anyone again. That's all. Your job is safe. I promise you that." The certainty in his voice does something to her. Loosens something that's been wound tight since those hands first grabbed her. She swallows hard. They're regulars. They come in twice a month for business dinners. They reserve the Donatello room, they drink too much, her breath hitches. Tonight they stayed after closing. Said they wanted more wine. I told Tony I'd handle it because the tip would be good, and I need. She trails off, shame burning her cheeks. Names. Not a question. A demand wrapped in silk. Lorraine closes her eyes. Whispers them like a confession. Christopher Vandenberg. Marcus Hale. Jonathan Price III. Nathaniel Chun. And... Her voice drops to almost nothing. Bradley Whitmore. The air in the alley changes. When she opens her eyes, Michael's expression hasn't shifted, but something behind it has. Something cold and ancient and absolutely merciless. The gentleness is gone from his face, replaced by a calm so complete it's more terrifying than rage. "The Whitmore heir," he says softly, almost to himself. "His father owns half the buildings in Midtown," Lorene whispers. "Please, I shouldn't have said anything. You should have said something the moment it happened." Michael's voice is still quiet, but now it carries an edge that makes her spine straighten. "And you're going to go home, take a bath, and sleep. When you wake up, this will be handled." "What does that mean?" He doesn't answer. Instead, he reaches into his jacket, and for one insane moment, Lorene thinks he's going for a gun. But what he pulls out is a phone. Simple. Black. Expensive. Michael steps back, creating distance between them, and his entire demeanor shifts. The man who touched her face like she was precious vanishes. What remains is something harder. Colder. Untouchable. He dials. One number. Doesn't even wait for a greeting. "Vincent." Pause. "I need you to handle something." 5 names. His eyes never leave Lorene's face as he speaks, and she realizes with a chill that he's watching her reaction. Measuring it. Christopher Vandenberg. Marcus Hale. Jonathan Price III. Nathaniel Chun. Bradley Whitmore. Another pause. Lorene can't hear the other end of the conversation, but she sees Michael's jaw tighten. "I don't care what they're connected to. I don't care whose sons they are." His voice drops to something that barely qualifies as human. "I want them collected. Quietly. Before dawn. And Vincent." The silence stretches. Lorene's heart hammers against her ribs. Make sure they understand why. He ends the call. Slips the phone back into his jacket. When he looks at her again, his expression has smoothed into something almost gentle, but the fury is still there, banked beneath the surface like coals. "Mr. Moretti," Lorene starts, but he cuts her off with a slight shake of his head. "Michael." He takes one step closer, and this time she doesn't flinch. "You're going to call me Michael." "What did you just do?" The question comes out steadier than she feels. "I kept a promise." He reaches out slowly, always telegraphing his movements, always giving her time to pull away, and brushes a strand of hair from her bleeding lip. "No one touches what's mine. And as of this moment, Lorene Smith, you're under my protection. Do you understand?" She should say no. Should argue that she's not his anything, that she doesn't need a dangerous man inserting himself into her life. But the truth is, she's never felt safer than she does right now, standing in a garbage-strewn alley with a man whose name makes politicians nervous. "I don't understand any of this," she admits. Michael's mouth curves into something that might be a smile if it wasn't so edged with darkness. "You will." He pulls a card from his pocket, heavy stock, embossed lettering, just a phone number, no name, and presses it into her palm. "You're going to go home now. Lock your door. Don't answer calls from numbers you don't recognize. Tomorrow, someone will contact you about a new position. Better pay. Better hours. Safer." "What about the 5 men who hurt you?" His voice goes flat. Final. "By sunrise, they'll be gone." The words should horrify her. Should send her running. But all Lorene feels is a strange, twisted relief, and something else. Something darker that she doesn't want to name. Michael starts to turn away, then pauses. Looks back over his shoulder. "And Lorene?" Next time someone tries to hurt you, his eyes lock onto hers with devastating intensity. "Don't wait. Call me first." Then he's gone, disappearing into the shadows like he was never there at all. Lorene stands alone in the alley, clutching the card in her shaking hand. Somewhere in the distance, sirens wail. The city moves on, indifferent. But she knows, with bone-deep certainty, that by the time the sun rises over Manhattan, 5 men will learn what it means to cross Michael Moretti. And somewhere in the darkness of her bruised and battered heart, she finds herself hoping they suffer. Lorene wakes to her phone buzzing like a swarm of angry hornets. She'd barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Michael's face in the alley, heard that cold promise wrapped in his quiet voice. By sunrise, they'll be gone. She'd finally drifted off around 4 a.m., still clutching his card, her uniform in a crumpled heap on the bathroom floor where she'd left it. Now it's 9:30, and her phone won't stop. 3 missed calls from her co-worker Jenny. 7 texts from various numbers. 2 voicemails from Tony, the floor manager, his voice tight with something that sounds like panic. Lorene swipes to her news app with trembling fingers. The headline hits her like a fist. 5 heirs to New York fortunes missing after Metropolitan Club Gala. Her breath stops. She scrolls, her heart hammering against her still bruised ribs. The article loads with photos, 5 familiar faces in tuxedos, smiling for society page cameras. Christopher Vandenberg, Marcus Hale, Jonathan Price III, Nathaniel Chun, Bradley Whitmore. The same men who'd cornered her in the dining hall. The same hands that had grabbed her, torn her uniform, left marks she can still feel blooming purple across her skin. Authorities report the 5 men were last seen leaving the gala at the Metropolitan Club around 11:45 p.m. Their vehicles remain in the parking structure. Security footage shows them entering their cars but never leaving the premises. Police are treating this as a missing persons investigation, though sources close to the families suggest foul play. Lorene's hands shake so badly she nearly drops the phone. He did it. Michael actually did it. She keeps reading, her eyes skipping over words that don't quite make sense. Influential families. Coordinated disappearance. No signs of struggle. No witnesses. And then, buried 3 paragraphs down, a line that makes her blood run cold. While police have not named any suspects, sources familiar with New York's underground power structures note that all 5 men were recently seen at Bella Sera, an upscale Italian restaurant known to be frequented by alleged organized crime figure Michael Moretti. Her phone buzzes again. Jenny's name flashes across the screen. Oh my God, Lorene, are you seeing this? Jenny doesn't wait for a hello. Those guys, the ones from last night, they're missing. Like, actually missing. Everyone's losing their minds. Tony closed the restaurant for the day. The police are coming to interview staff. Did you? She lowers her voice to a whisper. Did you see anything after we left? Lorene's throat closes. No. Nothing. This is insane. 5 guys just vanish? In the middle of Manhattan? Someone on Twitter is saying it's Moretti. That he's cleaning house or sending a message or something. You know he was there last night, right? In the back room. I have to go, Lorene whispers. She ends the call before Jenny can protest. For a long time, she just sits there on her bed, staring at the photos of 5 men who'd treated her like she was nothing. Men who'd laughed while they hurt her. Men who thought their money and family names made them untouchable. By sunrise, they'll be gone. Lorene should feel horrified. Should be calling the police, confessing everything, doing the right thing. Instead, she feels safe. By 6 p.m., the restaurant has reopened despite Tony's protests. Business as usual, the owner had said. We don't let rumors shut us down. But nothing feels usual. The dining room buzzes with nervous energy. Every table is filled with people who came to gawk, to whisper, to feel close to the scandal. Lorene moves through her section like a ghost, pouring water with hands that have finally stopped shaking, smiling her professional smile even though her lip is still split. She'd covered the bruises with makeup. Worn her hair down to hide the ones on her neck. Changed into a fresh uniform that doesn't have torn straps. No one has asked her if she's okay. No one noticed she was hurt. That's when she sees him. Michael Moretti walks through the entrance like he owns the building, which, Lorene suddenly realizes, he probably does. He's in another impeccable suit, charcoal gray this time, his dark hair perfectly styled. He looks like he slept 10 hours and spent the morning at a spa. Untouchable. Composed. Completely at ease. 3 men in equally expensive suits flank him, security, she realizes, though they don't look like typical bodyguards. They look like the kind of men who make problems disappear. The entire restaurant seems to hold its breath. Michael's eyes sweep the room and land on her. For 1 heartbeat, 2, their gazes lock. Something passes between them that makes Lorraine's pulse spike. Recognition. Possession. Promise. Then he's moving toward the private dining area, and the moment breaks. But an hour later, when she's refilling water glasses near the Donatello room, the same room where it happened, a voice stops her cold. Lorraine. She turns. Michael stands in the doorway, alone now, his security stationed at a respectful distance. Mr. Moretti. Her voice is steadier than she expected. Michael, he corrects quietly. He gestures to the room, empty tonight, the table still set for guests who will never come. A word. She shouldn't. Should stay in the main dining room where there are witnesses and cameras and safety. But she follows him inside anyway. The door clicks shut. You saw the news, he says. Not a question. Lorraine nods, her throat tight. She should be afraid of him. Should see him for what he is, dangerous, violent, someone who can make 5 men vanish like they never existed. But all she can think about is the way he'd touched her face in that alley. The gentleness that contradicted everything else. Were they afraid? The question escapes before she can stop it. Michael's expression doesn't change. He takes 1 step closer, close enough that she can smell his cologne, cedar and smoke and something darker. Yes. Did they? She swallows hard. Did they suffer? His gray eyes hold hers with devastating intensity. They begged. His voice is conversational, almost soft. They offered money. Connections. They swore it was just a misunderstanding, that you'd wanted it, that girls like you always want it. Lorraine's hands curl into fists. And then, Michael continues, his tone never changing, they learned what fear actually feels like. Real fear. The kind that comes when you realize your money means nothing. Your name means nothing. That you're going to answer for what you've done, and no one is coming to save you. He pauses, letting the words settle between them like stones. So yes, Lorraine. They were afraid. She should be horrified. Should feel sick. Should run. But all she feels is relief, dark and twisted and shameful, flooding through her like absolution. Thank you, she whispers. Michael's expression softens fractionally. You don't thank me for this. Then what do I do? He reaches out slowly, and tucks a strand of hair behind her ear, the same gesture from last night, but different now. Intimate. Claiming. You let me keep you safe, he says quietly. That's all I've ever wanted. And standing there in the room where 5 men had hurt her, with the man who'd made them disappear watching her like she's something precious and dangerous at once, Lorraine realizes she's already made her choice. She's his now. For better or worse. And she's never felt safer in her life. Lorraine spends her day off doing something she knows she shouldn't. She searches his name. It starts innocent enough, just Michael Moretti typed into Google at 2 a.m. when she can't sleep, when the bruises on her ribs ache and her mind won't stop replaying his words. By sunrise, they'll be gone. She tells herself she just wants to understand who he is. What he is. The results load, and her stomach drops. The first page is sanitized, society photos, charity galas, business acquisitions. Moretti Development Corporation. Moretti Holdings. A dozen legitimate enterprises that have made him one of the wealthiest men in New York. He's photographed at fundraisers with senators and judges, always in impeccable suits, always with that same controlled expression. But she keeps scrolling. Page 3 is where it gets darker. Alleged crime boss Michael Moretti questioned in warehouse fire, no charges filed. 3 witnesses recant testimony against Moretti in federal racketeering case. District attorney drops investigation into Moretti organization after key evidence disappears. Loreen's hands tremble as she clicks link after link. Reddit threads with theories. True crime forums speculating about his family business. A Wikipedia page that's been edited so many times it's practically blank, with only the most basic biographical information remaining. One article from 5 years ago makes her blood run cold. Sources allege Moretti took control of his family's operations at age 25 after his father's mysterious death. While officially ruled a heart attack, investigators noted inconsistencies. Within 6 months, 3 rival families had been systematically dismantled. Moretti's message was clear: the old god was gone. He was untouchable. She finds photos from that time: Michael at 25, leaner, harder, with eyes that held less restraint. Dangerous in a way that made her current version of him seem almost tame. Another search: Michael Moretti disappearances. The results make her nauseous. Dozens of cases. Unsolved. Men who'd crossed him, or allegedly crossed him, who simply vanished. Witnesses who changed their stories. Evidence that went missing. A pattern so clear it might as well be written in blood. And now 5 more names to add to that list. Because of her. Loreen closes her laptop and presses her palms against her eyes. She should be terrified. Should pack a bag and disappear herself, run somewhere he can't find her. But the truth is, she hasn't felt this safe in years. What does that say about her? The next day, Michael walks into Bella Sera during the lunch rush. Loreen sees him immediately. It's impossible not to. He moves through the dining room like he's parting water, other patrons instinctively shifting out of his way. He's in navy today, the suit cut so perfectly it looks painted on, and his security detail follows at a discreet distance. But he doesn't head to the private rooms. Doesn't stop at the host stand. He walks straight to her section. "Mr. Moretti," she manages, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Your usual table is." "I'm not here for a table." His gray eyes lock onto hers. "I'm here for you. Your break. 5 minutes." It's not a request. Tony shoots her a panicked look from across the room, but he doesn't dare intervene. No one does. Michael Moretti doesn't get told no. Loreen sets down her tray with shaking hands. "The courtyard," she says quietly. "Back exit." The courtyard is a small enclosed space behind the restaurant. Brick walls, a few potted plants, a bench where staff smoke on breaks. Private. Hidden from the street. Michael stands with his hands in his pockets, looking completely out of place in his $1,000 suit among the cigarette butts and cracked pavement. Loreen closes the door behind her. For a moment, neither speaks. "I looked you up," she finally says. "Not an accusation. Just a fact. I'd be disappointed if you hadn't." He tilts his head slightly. "What did you find?" "Enough." She crosses her arms, a futile attempt at protection. "You're not just wealthy. You're dangerous. People disappear around you. Cases get dropped. Witnesses change their stories." She pauses, searching his face for what? Denial? Shame? "The internet thinks you run half the criminal enterprises in New York." "The internet is dramatic," Michael says calmly. "I run maybe a third." The casual admission should horrify her. Instead, it almost makes her laugh, a sharp, slightly hysterical sound. "Why?" The question bursts out of her. "Why did you help me? You could have anyone. Any woman in this city would," she gestures vaguely. "I'm nobody. A waitress who can barely make rent. Why would you risk exposure, risk investigation, risk anything for me?" Michael is quiet for a long moment. Then he moves closer, slow and deliberate, until only a foot of space separates them. You want the truth? Lorene nods, not trusting her voice. I've been coming to this restaurant for 3 years, he says. Every Tuesday and Friday. Same table, same meal, same wine. And for 3 years, I've watched you work. Her breath catches. I've watched you smile at customers who don't tip. Watched you stay 2 hours past close to help the kitchen staff. Watched you give your dinner to the dishwasher's kid when she came in hungry. His voice drops lower. I've watched you hold your head high when entitled men snap their fingers at you like you're a servant. Watched you count your tips 3 times to make sure you have enough. That's just, Lorene starts, but he continues. You have this quiet dignity that no one else sees. You're exhausted. I can see it in the way you lean against the bar when you think no one's looking. You're struggling. I saw you researching tuition costs on your phone during your break. But you never complain. Never break. Never let them make you small. Michael reaches out, his fingers brushing her jaw in that now familiar gesture. You've been invisible to men your whole life. Overlooked. Dismissed. Treated like you're interchangeable with any other pretty face who can carry a tray. His gray eyes hold hers with devastating intensity. But not to me, Lorene. You've never been invisible to me. The words hit her like a physical thing. All her life, she's been background noise, the girl who serves, who smiles, who fades into the wallpaper. Her mother barely sees her except as a paycheck. Her co-workers don't know her favorite color. The customers don't even remember her face. But Michael Moretti, dangerous, powerful, untouchable Michael Moretti, has been watching her for 3 years. Seeing her. I don't understand, she whispers. You don't have to. His thumb traces her cheekbone. You just have to decide if you trust me. I looked up what you are, she says. What you do. I know. Those 5 men got exactly what they deserved. You could have just scared them. Threatened them. Why? She can't finish the sentence. Michael's expression hardens. Because men like that don't learn from threats. They learn from consequences. And I needed them to understand, his jaw tightens. That you aren't someone they can hurt and walk away from. That you belong to someone who will burn this city down before he lets anyone touch you again. The possessiveness in his voice should frighten her. Should send her running. Instead, it makes her feel alive. I'm not yours, she says, but even she can hear how weak it sounds. Michael smiles, not the controlled public smile, but something real and dangerous and hungry. Keep telling yourself that, Lorene. We'll see how long you believe it. He steps back, the space between them suddenly cold. Your break is over. Go back to work. He starts toward the exit, then pauses. And Lorene? Stop searching my name. If you want to know who I am, just ask me. Then he's gone. Lorene stands alone in the courtyard, her heart racing, her skin still tingling where he touched her. For the first time in 25 years, someone sees her. And God help her, she never wants to be invisible again. The dress arrives at her apartment on Thursday. No note. No explanation. Just a black box with a designer label Lorene has only seen in magazine ads, delivered by a man in a suit who doesn't wait for a signature. Inside, emerald silk that feels like water against her fingers. Her size exactly. With shoes that match and a small velvet box containing diamond earrings that are definitely real. Her phone buzzes. Tonight. 8 p.m. Car will pick you up. She should say no. Should text back that she can't accept gifts from him, can't be bought, can't cross this line. Instead, she tries on the dress. It fits perfectly. The car is a black Mercedes with windows tinted so dark she can't see out. The driver doesn't speak, just holds the door and waits for her to slide into leather seats that probably cost more than her yearly salary. They drive for 20 minutes, leaving Manhattan proper, winding through streets that get progressively quieter, more exclusive. Finally, they stop in front of a building with no sign, just a burgundy door with a brass knocker and a man in a tuxedo standing guard. The door opens before she can knock. "Miss Smith," the man says, like he's been expecting her. Like her name has been on a list. "Mr. Moretti is waiting." Inside is old money and older secrets. Dark wood paneling, oil paintings in gilt frames, the kind of furniture that's been here for generations. A private club, she realizes, the kind that doesn't advertise, doesn't have a website, exists only for people who already know it's there. People like Michael. He's standing near a fireplace, talking to two older men in expensive suits. But the moment she enters, his attention shifts. The conversation dies mid-sentence. He crosses to her in 4 strides. "You wore it," he says quietly, his eyes traveling down the silk dress and back up with open appreciation. "You didn't leave me much choice." But there's no heat in her words. She's too aware of the way everyone in the room is watching them. Measuring. Calculating. Michael offers his arm. Hungry. Starving. The truth surprises her. She hasn't eaten since breakfast, too nervous about tonight. He leads her through double doors into a private dining room. Smaller than Bella Sara's spaces, but infinitely more exclusive. One table, already set for 2. Candles. Wine breathing in a crystal decanter. A window overlooking a garden lit by string lights. This is... Loreen trails off, not sure what word captures it. Beautiful? Excessive? Terrifying? Private, Michael finishes. He pulls out her chair, a gentleman's gesture that feels absurd coming from a man who makes people disappear. "No one will bother us here." But they're bothered anyway. Throughout dinner, courses that arrive perfectly timed, wine that tastes like poetry, a steady stream of interruptions. Men in suits who approach the table with deference that borders on fear. A woman with silver hair and diamonds who calls Michael Caro, and kisses both his cheeks. A younger man, maybe 30, who whispers something that makes Michael's expression go cold before nodding once, dismissively. Each time, Michael introduces Loreen. Each time the reaction is the same, a flash of surprise, quick calculation, then carefully neutral politeness. She's being assessed. Catalogued. Judged. "Who was that?" Loreen asks after the 4th interruption, a man with a thick accent and scars on his knuckles who'd looked at her like she was a problem to be solved. "No one important." Michael refills her wine glass. "How's your steak?" "Michael." He sighs, setting down the bottle. "Viktor Kozlov. He runs the Brighton Beach operation. Came to pay respects." "Respects for what?" "For breathing in my city without permission." Said so casually it takes her a moment to understand. "Then, I'm joking. Mostly. He's an associate. We have an understanding." "An understanding," Loreen repeats slowly. She looks around the room, at the men in their expensive suits, the way they all keep Michael in their peripheral vision. "Everyone here is dangerous." Michael's mouth curves. "Yes. And you're more dangerous." He reaches across the table, his fingers finding hers. "But not to you. Never to you." His thumb brushes across her knuckles, the same gentleness he'd shown in the alley, in the restaurant, every time he touches her. Like she's something breakable. Precious. The contrast makes her dizzy. "This is insane," she whispers. "I shouldn't be here. I should be at work or home studying, or literally anywhere but having dinner with." She gestures vaguely at him, at the room, at everything this represents. "With what?" His voice is soft, dangerous. "Say it." "With a man the internet thinks is a crime boss." "The internet is right." The blunt admission steals her breath. No deflection, no careful wording. Just truth, laid bare between them. Then why? Her voice cracks. Why would you want me here? I don't belong in this world. I'm not. You're exactly what I want. Michael stands, moving around the table to her side. He crouches down, just like in the alley, so they're eye level. You're real, Lorene. You're good. You work hard, you take care of your mother, you're kind to people who don't deserve it. His hand comes up, fingers ghosting along her jaw. This world I live in? It's full of people who would sell their souls for power. For money. For a seat at the right table. He leans closer, his voice dropping to barely above a whisper. But you? You just want to be safe. To be seen. To matter to someone. His lips brush her temple, not quite a kiss, more like a promise. And you matter to me. Lorene's eyes flutter closed. This is wrong. She knows it's wrong. He's dangerous, violent, everything she should run from. But his touch is so gentle. And she's so tired of being invisible. Michael. Dance with me. Her eyes snap open. What? He's standing now, offering his hand. Behind him, she notices for the first time that soft music has started playing, something classical, sweeping. There's no dance floor, she protests weakly. There's floor. That's enough. And somehow she finds herself standing, his hand at her waist, being pulled into a slow waltz in a private dining room while dangerous men watch from the other room. He moves with surprising grace, leading her through steps she barely knows. His hand is warm against the silk at her lower back. Close enough that she can smell his cologne, feel the heat of him. You're good at this, she murmurs. I'm good at a lot of things. His voice is low, intimate. Most of them you shouldn't ask about. The 5 men aren't your concern anymore. His hand tightens fractionally at her waist. They're gone. You're safe. That's all that matters. But it's not all that matters, Lorene realizes. Because safe also means tied to him. Protected means owned. And the way he's looking at her, possessive, hungry, dark, makes it clear this was never just about protection. This is about claiming. I should go, she whispers, but she doesn't pull away. Should, Michael agrees. But you won't. He's right. God help her, he's right. The song ends. Michael releases her slowly, like he's reluctant to lose the contact. I'll have the car take you home. You're not coming? Business. Something hard crosses his expression. The kind you don't need to know about. She nods, understanding. There are parts of his world she doesn't want to see. Parts that would shatter whatever illusion she's building. Michael walks her to the entrance, his hand at the small of her back. Proprietary. The doorman already has her coat ready. That's when she sees him. An older man, distinguished, with silver hair and a scar bisecting his left eyebrow. He's watching them from across the foyer with an expression that's hard to read. Not hostile, exactly. More calculating. Michael notices her staring. His hand tightens at her waist. Keep walking. But the man moves to intercept them, smooth as a shark. Michael, he says. Accented, Italian, she thinks. Introduce me to your lovely guest. No. Flat. Final. The man smiles, but it doesn't reach his eyes. He looks at Lorene, really looks, like he's memorizing every detail. You must be the waitress. The one worth starting a war over. Luca, Michael's voice drops to something lethal. Walk away. I'm walking. Luca raises his hands in mock surrender. But his eyes stay on Lorene. Just wanted to give the young lady some advice. Free of charge. Don't, Michael warns. But Luca leans in anyway, his voice dropping to just above a whisper. Leave, Bella. Leave before you're swallowed whole. Men like Michael, we don't love. We consume. And once he's decided you're his smile turns sad. There's no coming back from that. Then he's gone, disappearing into the club's shadows like smoke. Loreen's heart hammers. Michael's hand at her back has gone rigid, his entire body coiled with barely restrained violence. He's wrong, Michael says quietly. Is he? Michael turns her to face him, his gray eyes blazing. About most things? No. Luca Salvatore is one of the smartest men I know. But about you? He cups her face in both hands. He doesn't understand that I'm not trying to consume you, Loreen. I'm trying to save you. From what? His thumb brushes her lip. From everything. Everyone. Even from me, if that's what you need. But they both know it's too late for that. She's already falling. Already drowning. Already his in every way that matters. Michael kisses her forehead, gentle, reverent, then guides her to the waiting car. Loreen watches through the tinted window as he disappears back inside, back to whatever dark business waits for him. And all she can hear is Luca's warning echoing in her head, leave before you're swallowed whole. The question is, does she even want to leave anymore? Loreen doesn't sleep that night. She lies in her cramped apartment, still wearing the emerald dress, staring at the water-stained ceiling while Luca Salvatore's words play on repeat, leave before you're swallowed whole. But the truth is, she doesn't want to leave. And that terrifies her more than anything else. At 2 a.m., she makes a decision. She changes into jeans and a sweater, pulls her hair into a ponytail, and calls the number on Michael's card. The one he'd pressed into her palm in the alley a lifetime ago. He answers on the first ring. No sleep in his voice. Like he's been waiting. Loreen. Where are you? She doesn't bother with hello. A pause. You should be sleeping. Where are you? She repeats, harder this time. Another pause, longer. Then, send me your location. A car will come. Michael. 15 minutes. He ends the call. The car takes her to a building she's never noticed before, glass and steel, modern in a city of brownstones. 60 stories climbing into the Manhattan night. The penthouse, she realizes as the private elevator ascends without her pressing any buttons. The doors open directly into his apartment. No, not apartment. This is something else. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, like being suspended in the sky. Minimalist furniture that probably costs more than her yearly rent. Art on the walls that she recognizes from her community college art history textbook. Michael stands by the windows, still in his suit from dinner but with the jacket discarded, sleeves rolled to his elbows. A glass of whiskey in his hand. He doesn't turn when she enters. You shouldn't be here, he says to the glass, to the city, to the darkness beyond. Neither should you. Loreen steps off the elevator. The doors close behind her with a soft whisper. It's 2 a.m. Don't you sleep? Not much. He finally turns, and something in his expression makes her breath catch. He looks tired. Not physically, but something deeper. Bone-weary in a way that has nothing to do with ours. What are you doing here, Loreen? I need to know why. Why what? Why me? The question bursts out, raw and desperate. You said you've been watching me for 3 years. That I matter to you. That you, she gestures helplessly. 5 men are gone because of me. You risked exposure, investigation, war with their families. Tonight that man, Luca, he said you were starting a war. Over a waitress. Michael sets down his glass with deliberate care. He exaggerates. Does he? Loreen moves closer, anger and confusion and something darker tangling in her chest. Because from where I'm standing, you've turned my entire life upside down. I can't stop thinking about you. Can't sleep. Can't focus. I looked up what you are, and I should be running. Should be terrified. But you're not. No, she admits. And I don't understand why. I don't understand any of this. You could have anyone, women who fit in your world, who understand it, who wouldn't flinch at what you do. So why risk everything for someone like me? Michael crosses the distance between them in 3 strides. He's close now, close enough that she has to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. You want the truth? His voice is low, dangerous. The whole truth. Yes. Because you were the only thing in this city that didn't belong to me. His hand comes up, fingers threading through her hair with a gentleness that contradicts the intensity in his voice. I own buildings, businesses, people. I have politicians in my pocket and judges on my payroll. I control territory, trade routes, operations that span 3 states. His thumb traces her jaw, that familiar gesture that makes her skin electric. But you. His eyes search hers, something raw and hungry burning behind the gray. You were just there, working your shifts, studying on your breaks, smiling at customers who didn't deserve it, existing in my world but not of it, pure, real, untouchable. I'm not. You are. His other hand comes up, cradling her face like she's something sacred. You're everything this city isn't. Everything I'm not. And I wanted you. Not to own, not to control. Just. He exhales, a sound that's almost frustrated. To keep you safe. To make sure nothing and no one could hurt you. To have one thing in my life that's good. Loreen's heart hammers against her ribs. I'm not good. I watched the news about those men and felt relieved. I should have felt guilty, should have gone to the police, should have. Should have what? Michael's grip tightens fractionally. Let them get away with it? Let them hurt someone else? Feel guilty for wanting justice. It wasn't justice, she whispers. It was revenge. Sometimes they're the same thing. His forehead drops to hers, close enough that she can feel his breath. And you want to know the real truth? I didn't make them disappear for you. Not entirely. Then why? Because when I saw you in that alley, bruised, bleeding, trying to hide in the shadows, something in me broke. His voice drops to barely above a whisper, raw and unguarded. I've done terrible things, Loreen. I've hurt people. Killed people, built an empire on blood and fear, and I've never felt guilty, never lost sleep, never questioned if I was the monster everyone thinks I am. His eyes lock onto hers, blazing with something that steals her breath. But seeing you hurt? Knowing those men touched you, laughed while they did it, thought they could just walk away. His jaw clenches. That's when I realized I'm not just a monster. I'm your monster. And I would burn this entire city to ash before I let anyone hurt you again. The words should frighten her. Should send her running for the elevator. Instead, they ignite something deep in her chest, something dark and wanting and desperate. This is insane, she breathes. We barely know each other. You're dangerous. A criminal. Everything you should stay away from. Michael's thumb brushes her lower lip. I know. And if you want to leave, walk away right now, I won't stop you. Won't send cars or gifts or men to watch over you. I'll let you go. But I'm not noble, Loreen. I'm not a good man. And the truth is, his voice roughens. I don't want to let you go. I want to keep you. Protect you. Make sure you never have to smile through exhaustion or count tips or worry about your mother's bills again. I want you safe and happy and mine. The possessiveness in his voice makes her dizzy. You can't just decide I'm yours, she protests weakly. I know. He leans back slightly, giving her space, his hands dropping from her face. That's why I'm asking. Not as your employer. Not as the man who made your problems disappear. just as Michael. His eyes hold hers, vulnerable in a way she's never seen. Stay with me, he says quietly. Not tonight, I'm not asking for that. Just stay. In my life. In my world. Let me keep you safe. Let me give you everything you deserve. And maybe, his voice softens. Maybe you can give me something good to hold on to. Loreen should say no. Should walk away from this dangerous man and his dangerous world and his dangerous promises. But she's so tired of being invisible. Of struggling. Of feeling like she doesn't matter. And Michael makes her feel like the only thing in the world that does. I'm not sleeping with you tonight, she says, even as she steps closer. I know. And I'm not some possession you can keep locked away. I know. And if this goes wrong, if you hurt me, I won't. His hands find her waist, pulling her against him with devastating gentleness. I'd destroy myself before I hurt you. You're insane. Completely. His mouth hovers above hers, close enough that she can feel the words against her lips. Is that a yes? Loreen answers by closing the distance. The kiss is nothing like she expected. Not gentle, not careful. It's desperate and claiming and electric, like 3 years of watching and wanting finally unleashed. His hands tighten at her waist, pulling her closer, and she responds by fisting her hands in his shirt, needing the anchor. He kisses her like he's drowning and she's air. Like she's something precious and dangerous at once. Like he's been waiting 3 years for permission to touch her, and now that he has it, he'll never let go. When they finally break apart, both breathing hard, Michael rests his forehead against hers. You're mine now, he says quietly. Not a question. A statement of fact. And God help her, Loreen doesn't disagree. What happens now? She whispers. Michael's smile is dark and promising. Now? I make sure you never have to be invisible again. He kisses her again, softer this time, and Loreen realizes with perfect clarity that Luca was right. She is being swallowed whole. But standing here in Michael Moretti's arms, 60 stories above a city that's never noticed her, feeling wanted and seen and safe for the first time in her life, she doesn't care. Let the storm take her. She's finally home. Loreen notices the men on Tuesday. One stands across the street from her apartment building, pretending to read a newspaper. Another sits in a black sedan 3 cars down, engine idling. A third follows her to the subway, keeping exactly 15 feet behind, his hand always near his jacket. At first, she thinks she's paranoid. That spending time in Michael's world has made her see threats where there are none. Then she texts him, "Am I being followed?" His response comes in seconds, "Yes. For your protection. They won't interfere unless necessary." She should be angry. Should feel violated, watched, controlled. Instead, she feels safe. That realization disturbs her more than the surveillance itself. By Wednesday, the whispers start. At Bella Sera, the other servers huddle by the coffee station, conversations dying when Loreen approaches. Jenny pulls her aside during the lunch rush, her voice low and urgent. Is it true? Is what true? About you and Moretti. Jenny glances around nervously. People are saying that he's. Loreen, those 5 guys are still missing. Their families are going crazy. The Whitmores hired a private investigator. And now you're showing up to work with a security detail. Loreen's stomach drops. I don't have a. There's a guy in a suit watching the front entrance. Another in the alley. Tony's freaking out. Jenny's eyes widen. Oh my God. It's true. You're with him. It's not like that. Then what is it like? But Jenny doesn't wait for an answer. She just shakes her head, a mixture of fear and pity in her expression. Be careful, Loreen. Men like that, they don't let go. Thursday brings the press. Lorene is walking to the subway when a woman with a microphone intercepts her, a cameraman at her heels.
Miss Smith? Lorene Smith? Can you comment on your relationship with Michael Moretti? Lorene freezes. I'm not.
Sources say you were present at Bella Sera the night 5 men went missing. Can you confirm you witnessed anything suspicious? One of Michael's men appears from nowhere, stepping between Lorene and the camera.
No comment. Step back.
But the reporter persists, shouting questions as Lorene is guided to a waiting car.
Were you involved in their disappearance? Are you afraid for your safety? Do you know what Moretti is capable of?
The car door closes, muffling the noise.
Lorene's hands shake.
The driver, a different one than usual, older with kind eyes, catches her gaze in the rearview mirror.
Don't worry about them, Miss Smith. Boss says they'll be handled. Handled. That word again.
The one that means different things in Michael's world.
Friday morning, she wakes to her phone exploding. 43 missed calls. Texts from numbers she doesn't recognize. Her mother, frantic. Baby, I'm seeing your name in the news. Call me, please.
Lorene opens the news app with trembling fingers.
The headline makes her blood run cold. Whitmore heir still missing. Father accuses Moretti of murder.
There's a photo, Bradley Whitmore Sr., silver-haired and distinguished, standing at a podium with microphones crowding the frame.
The article quotes him extensively.
Michael Moretti is a monster hiding behind expensive suits and legitimate businesses. My son and 4 other young men vanished after a dinner at a restaurant Moretti frequents. The police claim there's no evidence, but we know the truth. Moretti has gotten away with violence for too long. I'm offering $1 million reward for information leading to my son's whereabouts, and to Moretti's conviction. Further down, a paragraph that makes her stomach turn. Sources close to the investigation reveal that Moretti was seen with a Bella Sera employee, Lorene Smith, 25, on the night of the disappearances. Miss Smith's relationship to Moretti and potential involvement in the case remains under investigation.
Her name. In print.
Connected to 5 missing men and a suspected crime boss.
Lorene's vision blurs. This isn't real. Can't be real.
Her phone buzzes, car outside.
Come to me, M.
Michael's penthouse is different in daylight.
Less romantic, more fortress.
The windows that seemed magical at night now feel like observation points over a city that suddenly feels hostile. He's waiting by those windows, phone pressed to his ear, voice low and controlled. He holds up one finger when she enters, 1 minute, and finishes his conversation.
Handle it. I don't care how. And Vicente?
Make sure Whitmore understands the cost of his press conference. He ends the call, turns to face her.
Lorene doesn't wait for him to speak. My name is in the news. They're connecting me to the disappearances. My mother is terrified. My co-workers won't talk to me. There are reporters. Her voice cracks. Did I do this? By telling you their names? Did I? Lorene.
Michael crosses to her in 2 strides, his hands finding her shoulders.
Breathe. I can't. Yes, you can. Look at me. He waits until her eyes meet his. This isn't your fault. But if I hadn't told you,
then those 5 men would still be out there.
Still harassing women. Still thinking they're untouchable. His grip tightens fractionally. What happened to them was my choice. My action. Not yours. Never yours. Whitmore's father called you a monster.
Something dark flashes across Michael's expression.
He's grieving. Lashing out. Is he wrong?
The question hangs between them like a blade. Michael is quiet for a long moment. Then he releases her shoulders, moves to the bar, pours 2 fingers of whiskey into a crystal glass.
He doesn't offer her one.
Just stands there, staring at the amber liquid like it holds answers.
You want to know if I'm a monster? His voice is eerily calm. Yes. By most definitions, I am. I've killed people, ordered deaths, built an empire through violence and fear. I make people disappear when they threaten what's mine.
He finally looks at her, his gray eyes cold as winter steel. But here's the truth that Whitmore and his righteous crusade won't tell you: monsters don't disappear.
They never have. They just bow to bigger ones. Loreen's breath catches. Those 5 men. Michael continues. They were monsters too. Entitled. Cruel.
Protected by money and family names that let them hurt people without consequences. How many women do you think they've assaulted? How many waitresses, assistants, interns who were too afraid to speak up because they knew nothing would happen? He takes a slow sip of whiskey. I didn't create violence, Loreen. I just redirected it. Those men learned what their victims felt: fear, helplessness, the certainty that no one is coming to save them.
That doesn't make it right. No, Michael agrees. But it makes it justice. The only kind that exists for people like us. Us. Loreen shakes her head. I'm not. You are now.
He sets down the glass and approaches her again, but this time he doesn't touch. Just stands close enough that she has to look up to meet his eyes. The moment you told me their names, you became part of this world.
My world.
And I'm sorry for that, truly. But I won't apologize for protecting you. For making sure they couldn't hurt you again.
Whitmore says he'll find evidence. That he'll. He won't.
Said with such absolute certainty it sends chills down her spine.
Because there is no evidence. No bodies. No witnesses. Just speculation and grief.
Michael's expression softens fractionally. And after his press conference today, he'll receive a very clear message about the cost of coming after me.
What kind of message? The kind you don't need details about. Loreen closes her eyes. This is insane. All of it.
She should walk away, cooperate with investigators, tell the truth. But the truth is, she doesn't regret it. Those 5 men are gone, and she feels lighter.
Safer. Free.
What does that make her? I don't know if I can do this, she whispers.
Live in your world. Accept what you are.
Michael is quiet for a moment. Then, you don't have to accept it. You just have to accept me.
What's the difference?
My world is violence and control and blood.
But with you.
His hand finally reaches out, fingertips grazing her jaw. With you, I'm just a man who wants to keep you safe. Who watches you smile and feels human for the first time in years. Who would burn everything I've built if it meant protecting you.
His thumb brushes her cheek.
So no, you don't have to love what I do. But I need you to trust that everything I do, every decision, every action, is to make sure no one can hurt you again.
Loreen opens her eyes.
Looks at this man who's turned her life upside down, who's dangerous and gentle and terrifying and safe all at once.
The men following me, she says quietly. They stay? Yes. And Whitmore, you're going to handle it, without you knowing details. And if more people come forward, more press, more investigations.
Michael's smile is cold and lethal. Then they'll learn the same lesson everyone else has: I protect what's mine.
At any cost. Loreen should be horrified.
Should see him for the monster Whitmore called him. But all she sees is the man who knelt in an alley and promised to make things right. Who watches her with gentleness despite the violence in his hands. Who makes her feel like she matters.
Okay, she whispers. Okay. I don't understand your world.
And I don't know if I can ever fully accept it. She steps closer, closing the distance between them.
But I accept you, monster and all.
Michael's expression cracks, just for a moment, just enough for her to see the relief beneath the control. Then he's kissing her, deep and claiming and desperate, and Lorene realizes she's stopped trying to find the line between right and wrong.
In Michael's world, there is no line. There's only survival. And she's chosen her side.
The city looks different from 60 stories up at midnight. Lorene stands at Michael's floor-to-ceiling windows, a glass of wine she hasn't touched warming in her hand. Below, Manhattan pulses with life, cars streaming like blood cells through arteries of light, people reduced to shadows, the whole world small and distant and irrelevant.
You haven't said anything in 20 minutes.
Michael's voice comes from behind her, quiet in the darkness.
I'm thinking. About
how a week ago, I was just a waitress counting tips.
And now?
She gestures vaguely at the penthouse, at him, at everything her life has become. Now I have bodyguards and my name in newspapers and a crime boss who says I'm his. She hears him move closer, feels the heat of him at her back.
Regrets? He asks. I don't know yet.
She turns to face him. He's changed since the earlier meeting, traded the suit for dark slacks and a white shirt, sleeves rolled up, top buttons undone. Casual in a way she's never seen him. More dangerous somehow, without the armor of formal wear.
Tell me something true. What do you want to know? Everything.
She sets down the wine glass. You know everything about me, where I live, who I call, what I dream about. But I don't know anything about you.
Not really.
Just rumors and newspaper articles and what other people whisper. Michael is quiet for a long moment. Then he moves to the couch, sits, patting the space beside him.
An invitation, not a command.
Lorene joins him, tucking her legs beneath her, maintaining a careful distance. I was 25 when my father died, Michael begins, his voice flat, clinical.
Heart attack, officially.
But in our world, there's no such thing as natural death, just violence dressed up with medical terminology.
Someone killed him? 3 someones.
Business partners who decided they wanted a bigger share.
His jaw tightens. They miscalculated.
Thought without him, the organization would crumble. That I was too young, too educated, too soft to hold power.
What happened?
Michael's smile is cold. Within 6 months, all 3 were gone. Their operations absorbed into mine. Their families compensated and relocated. Their names became warnings.
Lorene's breath catches. You were 25. Yes.
He looks at her then, really looks, and she sees something raw beneath the control. Too young to inherit an empire built on blood.
But I didn't have a choice.
In this world, you either take power or someone takes it from you. There's no middle ground.
That's why everyone fears you. Fear is respect with sharper teeth.
He reaches out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and takes her hand. His thumb traces circles on her palm. I built everything you see, the legitimate businesses, the underground networks, the political connections, by being colder, smarter, more ruthless than anyone who challenged me.
Do you regret it? Becoming what I am? He considers. No. I regret what it cost.
My younger sister, Sophia, she couldn't handle it. The violence, the secrets, the weight of our name.
She left when I was 28.
Moved to Italy, changed her name, married a professor. We haven't spoken in 6 years. Pain flashes across his face, quickly suppressed. My mother died when I was 15.
Cancer.
My father never recovered, threw himself into work, into control, into building something that couldn't be taken away.
Michael's voice drops. I watched him become a ghost.
Watched him love nothing except power. And when he died, I swore I wouldn't make the same mistake.
But you did. I did. He brings her hand to his lips, kisses her knuckles. For 9 years, I've built and controlled and conquered. I've had women, beautiful, sophisticated women who understood my world. But I've never let anyone close. Never allowed myself to want something I couldn't afford to lose. His gray eyes lock onto hers. Until you. Loreen's heart hammers. Why me? Really? Because you're the first person in a decade who's looked at me and seen a man instead of a weapon. His free hand comes up, cupping her face. Everyone else wants something. Protection, money, power, access. But you? You just wanted to be safe. To be seen. And I wanted to be the one who gave you that. I'm not special, Michael. I'm just. You're everything. He leans closer, his forehead touching hers. You're kind in a world that punishes kindness. You're honest when everyone around me lies. You work yourself to exhaustion for a mother who barely calls, for dreams you think are too big, for a life you think you don't deserve. His thumb traces her jaw. You're special because you don't know you are. And I'm selfish enough to want to keep you before someone else realizes it. Loreen's breath shakes. I'm afraid. Of me? No. The admission surprises her. I'm not afraid of you. I'm afraid of losing myself. Of becoming someone I don't recognize. Of waking up one day and realizing I've accepted too much, justified too much, become too comfortable in a world I should run from. Michael pulls back slightly, studying her face. Then leave. Right now. I'll have the car take you home. Tomorrow, a check will arrive, enough to finish school, pay your mother's bills, start over somewhere else. You'll never hear from me again. You'd let me go? I'd hate every second of it. But yes. His voice roughens. I don't want you here out of fear or obligation or because you think you don't have a choice. I want you here because you choose it. Choose me. Even knowing what I am. Loreen searches his face, the sharp angles, the cold eyes that somehow warm when they look at her, the mouth that's spoken orders for violence but touches her with devastating gentleness. I don't need perfection from you, Michael continues quietly. I don't need you to love everything about my world or accept every choice I make. I just need honesty. If you're afraid, tell me. If you regret this, tell me. If you want out, his jaw tightens. Tell me, and I'll let you go. And if I want to stay? Something blazes in his eyes. Then I'll spend every day proving you made the right choice. Loreen closes the distance between them, her lips finding his in an answer that needs no words. The kiss is different this time, less desperate, more certain. A claiming on both sides. His hands slide into her hair, tilting her head back, deepening the connection until she can't tell where she ends and he begins. When they break apart, both breathing hard, Michael's control has finally cracked. Last chance, he says roughly. Once you're mine, truly mine, I won't let go. Can't let go. And I need you to understand what that means. Tell me. It means you'll have everything. Protection, security, money, power, anything you want. But it also means you're mine to protect. Mine to claim. Mine to keep safe even if you hate the methods. His hand tightens in her hair. I can't be someone I'm not. Can't stop being dangerous. Can't promise I won't make choices that frighten you. I know. And you're staying anyway? Loreen looks at this man who's turned her world inside out, who's violent and gentle, dangerous and safe, everything she should fear and the only place she feels home. I'm staying, she whispers. Not because I don't have a choice. Because I'm choosing you. Monster, empire, blood and all. Michael's control shatters. He kisses her again, but this time there's no restraint. His hands are everywhere, her face, her hair, her waist, pulling her closer, closer, until she's in his lap, straddling him, drowning in him. Mine, he breathes against her mouth. Yours, she confirms. They make it to the bedroom in a tangle of desperate touches and shed clothing. Michael lifts her like she weighs nothing, carries her to a bed that's too big, too perfect, too much like everything else in his world. But when he lays her down, when his body covers hers, when his hands map every inch of her skin with reverent attention, it doesn't feel like his world anymore. It feels like theirs. He takes his time, despite the hunger in his eyes. Traces every bruise that's faded, every mark that's healed, like he's memorizing the evidence of what led them here. Beautiful, he murmurs against her skin. So goddamn beautiful. When he finally claims her, completely, irrevocably, Lorene understands what Luca meant about being swallowed whole. This isn't just physical. It's a binding. A seal. A point of no return. With every touch, every kiss, every whispered word, she's giving him pieces of herself she'll never get back. And when they finally collapse together, tangled and breathless and utterly undone, Michael pulls her against his chest and whispers words that sound like both promise and threat. You're mine now. In every way that matters. And I protect what's mine. Lorene should be terrified. Should feel trapped. Instead, pressed against his heartbeat, marked by his touch, claimed in ways that have nothing to do with force and everything to do with surrender, she feels safe. She belongs to him. And for the first time in her life, belonging doesn't feel like a cage. It feels like freedom. Outside, the city sleeps, indifferent to the girl who stepped into the storm and chose to stay. Inside, wrapped in darkness and silk and the arms of a dangerous man, Lorene Smith becomes someone new. Someone claimed. Someone his. And there's no going back. The dress Michael chooses for her is blood red. Appropriate, Lorene thinks as she studies her reflection in his penthouse mirror. The silk clings to every curve, expensive and deliberate, a statement piece designed to announce exactly what she is, his. You're thinking too loud, Michael says from the doorway. He's in black, a tuxedo that probably costs more than her old car, and he looks every inch the predator he is. I'm thinking that 3 weeks ago, I would have been serving at this dinner. She smooths the fabric over her hips. Now I'm attending it. As your. As mine, he finishes, crossing to her. His hands settle on her waist, possessive. Does that bother you? It should. The entire city knows who she is now, the waitress who caught Michael Moretti's attention. The woman connected to 5 missing heirs. Whispers follow her everywhere. Gold digger, accomplice, victim, depending on who's talking. No, she admits. That's what bothers me. Michael's reflection smiles behind hers, dark and knowing. Then you're exactly where you're supposed to be. The Ashford estate hosts Manhattan's elite twice yearly. Politicians, CEOs, old money families who've shaped the city for generations. The kind of event Lorene once catered, invisible in her black uniform. Now she arrives on Michael's arm, and the silence is deafening. Heads turn. Conversations die mid-sentence. Crystal champagne flutes pause halfway to lips as 200 of New York's most powerful people register her presence. Michael's hand tightens at her waist. Breathe, he murmurs. They're just people. They're judging me. They're afraid of me. There's a difference. He guides her forward, through the parting crowd like Moses through the Red Sea. And you're with me, which means they're afraid of you too. The realization sends an unexpected thrill through her chest. They make it to their table, center of the room, impossible to miss. Michael's security detail positioned at strategic points, his second-in-command Vincent standing near the exit. Everything choreographed, controlled. Dinner begins with forced normalcy. Conversations resume in careful murmurs. Lorene catches fragments, heard she was there that night. 5 families still searching. Moretti's finally shown his hand. A woman in diamonds shoots Lorene a look that's pure venom. A Senator Michaels donated to can't quite meet his eyes. The whole room hums with tension barely leashed. Then dessert is served,
and Jonathan Price too stands. Lorene recognizes him immediately. She's seen his photo in the articles about his missing son. Older, distinguished, with the kind of face that's used to getting what it wants. He's 3 tables away, but when he moves, the entire room holds its breath.
Moretti.
His voice cuts through the silence like a blade. Michael doesn't stand. Doesn't even look up from his wine.
Price. I want to know where my son is.
Now Michael looks up, his expression pleasant and utterly empty.
I'm sure you do.
Price's hands curl into fists. He disappeared after dining at your restaurant, along with 4 other boys.
Men, Michael corrects softly. They were men.
Old enough to know better. Old enough to. Price's face flushes red.
You have no right. I have every right.
Michael finally stands, and the temperature in the room drops 10 degrees.
Your son made choices. They all did. Choices have consequences. Are you confessing?
Price's voice shakes with barely controlled rage. In front of all these witnesses?
That you. I'm stating facts.
Michael's voice never rises, never hardens, but something in it makes Lorene's pulse spike. Men who think their money makes them untouchable learn, eventually, that it doesn't.
That's not a confession. That's just truth.
The room is frozen. 200 people watching a confrontation that could ignite into violence at any moment.
Price takes a step closer. You think you're above the law? Above consequences? My son is missing. Missing. And everyone knows. Everyone knows what?
Michael interrupts, his tone conversational.
Almost bored.
That your son and his friends had a habit of treating service staff like property?
That complaints were filed and buried?
That daddy's money made problems disappear?
Price's face goes white.
See, that's the thing about consequences. Michael takes 1 step forward, just one, but the entire room flinches. Some people spend their whole lives avoiding them. Building walls of money and influence so high they think nothing can touch them. And then he pauses, letting the silence stretch taut.
They discover they were wrong. You're threatening me, Price hisses. In front of. I'm not threatening anyone.
Michael's smile is cold, lethal. I'm simply reminding you, reminding everyone here, that I protect what's mine.
My businesses. My people. My interests.
His hand extends toward Lorene, and she takes it without thinking, rising to stand beside him. And anyone who threatens what's mine learns a very simple lesson. Michael's gray eyes sweep the room, landing on each powerful face, each judge and senator and banker who's ever looked the other way.
I don't make threats. I don't negotiate. I don't forgive.
The silence is absolute. So if you want to keep searching for your son, Price, be my guest.
Hire investigators. Offer rewards. Hold press conferences.
Michael's voice drops to something that barely qualifies as human. But ask yourself, do you really want to test me on this?
Do any of you? No one moves. No one speaks.
Price stands there, rage and grief and impotence warring across his face. Then slowly, he sits back down.
Defeated.
The message is clear, Michael Moretti is untouchable. And anyone who forgets that fact suffers consequences that money can't fix.
Dinner resumes.
Conversations restart, careful and subdued. But everything has changed. Lorene can feel it in the way people avoid looking at their table, the way Michael's name is now spoken in even more hushed tones.
He's reminded them what he is. And no one will forget again. Are you okay?
Michael asks quietly, his hand finding hers beneath the table.
Lorene should say no.
Should be horrified by the display, the casual cruelty, the way he wielded power like a weapon.
But she's not.
I'm okay, she whispers, and realizes it's true. They leave an hour later, Michael's hand at her back as they walk through the crowd. People part for them now, not just out of courtesy but fear.
Respect.
Recognition that Laureen Smith is no longer a waitress to be dismissed.
She's Michael Moretti's.
And that makes her untouchable too. In the car, he pulls her close, his lips finding her temple.
You were perfect. I didn't do anything. You stood beside me.
That's everything. His hand cups her face, thumb tracing her jaw in that familiar gesture.
Are you sure you're okay?
That was
necessary, she finishes.
I know. Because she does know now. Understands that Michael's world operates on different rules. That showing weakness invites destruction. That to survive in the darkness, you have to become part of it. And standing in that room, watching powerful men bend to his will, feeling the weight of his protection wrap around her like armor, Laureen made her final choice. She crossed a line she can never step back from. Became someone she barely recognizes. Accepted a darkness most people spend their lives fleeing. But here, in Michael's arms, heading back to his penthouse 60 stories above a city that now knows exactly who she is, she doesn't want to go back. The girl who counted tips and smiled through exhaustion is gone. In her place is someone harder,
stronger.
Someone who belongs to a man who would burn the world for her. Michael kisses her, deep and claiming, and Laureen surrenders to the truth she's been avoiding. For the first time, she wasn't afraid of the darkness. Because the darkness was his, and she belonged to him. And that was exactly where she wanted to be.